Let the Right One In.
Oh, right.
And it's going to make her a star.
It is
a great movie.
A hopeful sign that everybody says how there are no good roles in Hollywood for women, and now you get like a generation of women or girls who are growing up and they're establishing themselves as stars at an early age, and maybe it'll turn that around. We'll go back to the 50s. We'll have when the women actually were hotter commodities than the men, 40s and 50s.
Is that a good thing to have these young girls be stars like this? How do you feel about that?
Hey.
Well, it's like this girl is 11 years old and playing somebody who kills people and uses bad language, which actually offends people more than her killing people. It's a little dubious. But if you take the film in its sort of parodic light, it's also very hilarious. In a way, it's also kind of empowering because usually you get actresses playing roles in that age where they're just victims or they're just sort of like cute little moppets or something like that. And here you get a role model who's like very assertive and, well, maybe too assertive. But I think it's better than having her play another victim or another just cute sort of whippersnapper or something like that.
That's funny. I think about that movie and I think about the girl who played in the original Let the Right One In.
Mm-hmm.
Just what do they know? The actual actresses, what do they know, and how does this affect their adult development or their child development, or do they just not pass go? And I think about this. I have a young daughter, so I mean that's just
who's being wooed by the studios.
Who's being wooed by the studios? Yeah, they want her to kill people and suck blood.
At the Boston Society of Film Critics, wasn't it? Jeremy Renner said
she cried at Jeremy Renner.
She cried.
She tried. Yeah, Jeremy Renner tried.
It was great. It was only like the third take. It was perfect.
Look for Chloe to be a star, though.
Yeah,
I think it's good. And you just asked us about our walking into a movie with expectations, or I don't remember exactly what your question was, but
if it's difficult, it's not buy into the hype.
I walked in to see Predators a month or so ago with my claws sharpened, ready to tear it to pieces, and I really enjoyed it. And it was just a total surprise. I had never even seen a trailer for it. I don't watch trailers anymore until after I see the movie. That one caught me. I don't think it was a great movie, but I had a lot of fun. I got wrapped up in it. It was a total surprise. So I was ready to tear it to pieces, and I gave it a pretty darn good review.
That's a definite phenomenon. You go into something and you have no expectations, or you have negative expectations, and it turns out to be really good. I generally am pretty generous.
That was the follow-up to Predator, and aptly named Predators, like Alien and Aliens, and that was the right booking because there were several other
Predator movies
sequels,
in the
and then the AVP stuff, and there was a whole lot of other stuff in there that you could just forget about. This was the right follow-up to that.
For me, that was a pleasant surprise as a critic. Just didn't know.
So that's just one remake. Remakes, franchises, they continue to dominate the box office. Is this tough to stomach as a critic? Or have you given up?
It's just business as usual.
Business as usual?
Yeah, we're pros.
I think it's more business as usual. I mean, they've always redone TV series and taken Saturday Night Live people, but it seems that they're more getting into movie serials these days.
Yeah, the A-Team. Yeah.
Well, I was talking more like Harry. I mean that too, but Harry Potter.
Oh, yeah.
Just things are attenuated several movies on out. Like the
Dragon Tattoo we were talking about, right?
Yeah. Well, following in the lines of the Lord of the Rings. I mean, obviously they're looking for other franchises of books that will fill that role because it was such a huge hit for 3 movies. The Hobbit is coming up too.
I have a confession to make. Last night at home, I watched both From Russia with Love and Goldfinger on television.
I did too.
Yeah.
So franchises have been around for a while, and I still like the quality ones. I watched both of those in a row late at night.
Thin
Man, a lot of movies. So those have been around for a long time. Right now, I don't know. Obviously, they're trying to make them quote bigger and better to cash in, and they are usually bigger.
I don't think there were that many sequels this year. Or maybe I'm just assigning them all to you.
Well, the thing is, I think since it's so expensive to make these movies, and granted, Bond was based on Ian Fleming's books and stuff, but it seems that the safe way to make a film is you score on paper first, because then you already have a ready audience, and then you make the movie, and then you've got the sequels. I mean, because if somebody goes out, a publisher goes out, publishes the books. I mean, the Dragon Tattoo, the girl books. I think were published posthumously. The author, somebody else who was a friend of his or a lover of his published them, and they take off, they make the film, and now it's coming to Hollywood. And people tend to do that. Think about, you got Hairspray, which became the movie, the cult movie, which then became the Broadway play, which then became the musical. I mean, people just continually to feast on something. It's just an easy way to make the buck. The risk is so low because there's a ready-made audience out there.
Well, that generally works, but I personally, I'll make a prediction here. I don't think there's going to be a Sex and the City 3. I really don't. That thing failed spectacularly. Even
really?
The first,
did it not make money?
It did. It just made money. It did not make the money that everyone expected.
That's sufficient. They probably already have the wheels in progress for a third one.
I mean, what are they going to do? Have Sex and the City 3, the Menopause reunion? I don't know.
That's what they would want to do. But that was a movie that everybody said, whoa, this is going to make billions of dollars. And it did not do anything like the original did.
The prequel.
Oh, the prequel.
The prequel.
And they'll have... what's her name from the Twilight play? The next generation.
Well, but I think that the problem with the Sex and the City 2 movie is that, first of all, they already had the characters. They just, nobody, it doesn't look like anybody wrote anything. Yeah. They said, let's figure out one glamorous situation to the next for them to get pedicures and have so-and-so hook up and so-and-so have a life crisis. And you've already seen it before. And I think the first one worked because it was at least spunky. There was some closure in it with a relationship, and it was a nice sort of epilogue to the TV series, whereas this was just going for gold one more time. And
were there camels in this one too?
There were, and we could go lots of places with some double entendres there. So I'll just.
Well, there was a shoe store and an Arab bazaar. I mean, they actually
sort of like,
put a shoe store.
Sex and the City meets Ishtar is the impression.
I'm afraid you got it right in the head. Yeah, so it was.
Which I thought was a good movie.
The cliche is that critics don't like franchises; they want personal films. But it sounds like you're saying that's not necessarily true.
Yeah, The Godfather 2.
Well, yeah, if a franchise is good, I'll go to it.
Right. Yeah.
I'll go to see. Are they going to make another Bourne movie? I'll go to see that.
Another Bond movie.
Or another. Well, will they make another Bond movie? I don't know. They keep saying.
I mean, the Bond movies really haven't been up to snuff since.
Well, I think with.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it was a nice revival, but I don't think a Bond movie has really grabbed me the way before Roger Moore did the loop in the one with when he's down south.
Not Casino Royale?
Not Casino the new one or the old one?
Not the '67 one, but the new one.
I did like that movie, but it just didn't. I'm a Bond purist, and I feel
you're a Connery fan.
I am a Connery fan. Actually, I do like several of the Man with the Golden Gun. I like some of the Moore ones. I think the ones today with Craig, well, they're just too. They're too gritty. They're too hyped up. There's too much action and less sort of debonair, cerebral activity. It's kind of a different. It's a little bit closer to the Bourne thing, which is fine, but it's really not the Bond that your dad knew or that we knew.
Actually, it's no salt.
It's salt in the wounds.
I like salt.
I like salt too. Did we all like salt? No.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
I was okay with salt, except for that movie was made before with Kevin Costner. I mean, if he had
yeah, that's true.
No Way Out.
Oh, I know. The same thing. Running.
Exactly.
Running all the time.
And that movie actually.
Kevin Costner never disabled a video camera with his underwear.
That might have been cut out.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know.
Right. Sort of like Big Chill where he was cut out. You know.
Well, so why did Salt work? Why did you like Salt?
I don't know. I'm not a big Angelina Jolie fan. It was exciting. I got caught up in the excitement of it. I can actually still do that. I can become just a viewer when I'm watching it. And again, I didn't see a trailer to this film. I didn't really know what it was about. I was kind of fascinated. I can give this part away to anyone who didn't see it, that it kind of synced up with current events that were actually happening with Russian moles. What a nice break for the people who made that movie, because that's what this film is about.
Maybe they were paid to do that. Maybe it was a giant studio stunt in order to promote the film. You know,
strange coincidence.
I don't think the moles that the real moles really could keep up with what was going on in this movie.
Well, I think the thing that makes the movie interesting, because it does get preposterous by the end, is that
by the end.
At
the end of the opening credits.
Okay, so I'm going to give a little suspension of disbelief here, but Angelina Jolie's character, Salt, she has to suffer she has to sort of guise some motions and sort of change her character in order to achieve the greater good. And it's very vague, but I don't want to give anything away, but I thought the plot and the character development actually lent towards the film actually working in a small degree. And it's not nearly as good as the film that Kevin Costner was in, that has less activity and action, but it's a lot more cerebral and it's a lot more believable, and therefore I think it lasts with you longer. Whereas the Salt film will become a franchise, but it's no bore.
When you get action, which is edited in such a way that you can actually follow the physical logic of what's going on, it draws you in much more, and you accept what's going on, and you also feel for the character. You're sympathizing with the character doing, like I mentioned before,